Hi, I'm Jason Phillips. I'm a licensed mental health clinician known as the Confidence Expert. With over 10 years of experience in the mental health field and coaching profession, I'm an expert in evidence-based treatment and strategic goal setting to foster success. As a speaker, I frequently present on topics including emotional wellness in the workplace, effective communication, mental health 101, and trauma-informed care. When you're looking for an informative, educational, and engaging speaker, contact Jason Phillips with Peace and Prosperity Coaching. Welcome back, y'all. This is another episode of the Peace and Prosperity Podcast. Got an amazing guest here today. B, man, go ahead and introduce yourself to the world.
Yeah, I'm Brian Adamson. As Jay and I were just talking about, I've been in Orlando the last 13 years, but from Detroit, born and raised, just, great place to cut your teeth in life, you know what I mean? I mean, seriously, bro, like you always used to hear, like, if you make it in Detroit, you can make it anywhere. That's not tongue in cheek. Like, that's a reality, you know what I mean? If you can endure and survive, that environment and thrive in it at the same time, you literally can pick up and go anywhere and make your way.
Yeah, I think people don't realize sometimes like how tough Detroit can be. And with us being from Detroit, I think a lot of things are second nature. As I was sharing with you, I was in New York this past weekend and I was talking to some guys who are from New York and they were like, yeah, I dated some girls in Detroit. It's tough. I went out there to visit, saw some robberies. I was like, dang, like I felt real comfortable in New York, even probably because I'm from Detroit, right?
Man, listen, I done been in third world countries and feel comfortable. You know what I mean? But I want to also say, I don't say that from a vein of Detroit is like that bad and impoverished as a lot of the time it's made to seem.
I know you're enjoying the episode, but I want to say that maybe you've been listening to the episode and you're thinking, I would like to work on my confidence, or I'm not happy where things are at in my life and I could benefit from talking to a professional. If that's you, visit my website or click the link below, schedule your consultation, and let's see if we're a good fit to work with each other. All right, now let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, Detroit got this negative stigma and connotation around like violence and impoverished environment and all those things. When we talk about surviving Detroit, I think it's less about that. It's more about, learning how to make something out of nothing, learning how to become the person that you need to become in order to do the things that you want to do in life, despite the challenging upbringings, particularly because most of us don't come from wealth. We don't come from trust funds. We come from blue collar families. And so, how do you become this leader, this, high income earner, this mentor, this therapist, this professional, when you never really had an avatar to look at and emulate from that vein, you know what I'm saying? So I think that is what I mean more so about coming from Detroit and how you can make it anywhere.
No, yeah, seriously, because a lot of my family on both sides is from Florida, where you're at now. But we migrated up because of the blue collar opportunities.
There you go.
And so you're right. And now we're doing something that's outside of the blue collar traditional type of work. But we, over time we had to.
For sure.
Brian,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah, I was going to say, otherwise you just repeat the cycle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And which is okay for some, but for us that got that innate burning thing inside of us that we know there's more for us than just clocking in and clocking out from a traditional sense. You got to go explore. You got to go start figuring out, what's your real purpose in life and who do you need to become in order to fulfill what that purpose is.
Yes, sir. Now I know what's unique about your story. Coming from Detroit, you were facing, was it a felony at 18?
Yeah, man, I was looking at a 4 to 10 year felony our senior year in high school. You know what I'm saying? And that was a wild turn of events. I think I always knew since I was like 12 that I was going to be a money guy. Yeah. It's just that meant something different to me, obviously, then than it does now. The goal still the same, but the application of it and the pursuit of it is totally different. And so going back to that avatar, it was like my dad was a firefighter for, 30 years for City of Detroit. My mom was a cashier at a grocery store. So it's like, how do you get beyond that and still get the financial means and gain that you want. Well, my first kind of snapshot at that was the guys in the street, you know what I mean? And so I started to emulate that lifestyle at a young age, you know, and made some poor decisions and almost paid a grave penalty in result of it. By God's grace, I ended up not having to do prison time, and because of my age, was able to get that thing fully expunged from my record.
Wow.
But that could have, my life could have went a totally different direction, bro.
And now you are like a real estate mogul. So how many doors do you have in real estate?
Right now, about 120. Got about 120 commercial multifamily units. You know, multiple seven-figure real estate business. Been able to mentor and teach and educate all over the world. We got students in Denmark, Japan, Afghanistan, all throughout the states. And
Man,
yeah, bro, it's
it,
crazy.
it's crazy, man, to see, you were looking at that back in high school and now, I guess fast forward 20 years later, whatnot, multi-millionaire, like coming from the D, man, that's amazing. So we're gonna get into
Yeah,
all of the story and the mindset behind it. But so like how did that work though? You were 18 looking at a felony. Like
yeah.
walk me through or walk us through what that looked like. Just from a mental I don't know what you can say and can't say.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it was it's interesting how when you know you got this thing in you and you
Mhm.
trying to feed it and appease it, the lengths that you will go to in pursuit of doing so. And you know, when you grow up in an environment that normalizes certain things like hustling in the streets, you know, you really don't think, I mean, you know it's wrong from a right wrong perspective, but
Mhm.
wrong is relative in that context. You know what I'm saying? At least it
Yeah.
was for me at that point in time. And you know, to be honest, I had, now looking back, trauma that I hadn't dealt with, you know, really had I was the black sheep of my family. So I was always an independent thinker. I always moved opposite of probably what my parents and particularly my father wanted me to do. And so I was finding ways to act out to some degree,
Mm.
right? I appreciate what you do from a mental health perspective, because when we don't deal with those traumas, they show up in different ways. And if we don't get out in front of it and get our arms around it, it'll start to perpetuate other negative things in our lives. And we treating the symptoms, but we
Right.
never diagnose the real root cause of the issue. You know what I mean? And you're gonna continue to systemically have failures in your life until you go in and really deal with that piece.
Mm. So B, what did he want you to do?
He I think he was aware of the environment, right? And
Okay,
so
right.
he did his best to try to insulate me from that. And he also did his best in trying to paint a different picture of what the real reality was. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You can only shelter one to a certain extent. You know, you can only have people adopt your ideologies as long as they're willing to subscribe to that. I wasn't willing to subscribe to that because I just always been my own man and an independent thinker and an independent mover. And it was just juxtaposed how he really wanted me to live. He always wanted more from me. It wasn't like he wanted me to be a firefighter as he did. As a matter of fact, he talked me against that as a young age. You know, typically our heroes are our parents, and we like, oh, I want to, like, no, you could do something different than that.
Yeah.
But it was just, he couldn't understand my movement, and rightly so. You know, and as I look back now, I'm so grateful that I did have a parent who was juxtaposed the way I was moving. By their grace and God's grace, I still was able to develop into who I needed to be and pursue those things that may have been, may have been foreign even to them. Right. I remember, just to fast forward for a
Yeah, go
second,
ahead.
when I finally quit my job at 35, he was the first one to call and tell me like he was glad I didn't listen to him.
Mm.
Right. Getting on the other side of all that adversity in our relationship, you know, he later told me that although I'm the baby of the family, I'm the one he worries about least. Although I've been
Mm.
involved in the most, I'm the one he worries about least. And so we just had this tension of, you know, him and who he is and me trying to become who I was. And it just, you know, I colored outside the lines a whole lot as as it
Yeah.
pertains to what his vision for my life should be.
Is that what you mean when you say you were the black sheep? Because a
Yeah,
lot
for
of us,
sure.
when we feel like we're the black sheep, that's a lot of, pressure, or we're feeling tension. We're not feeling good about ourselves. So, we do
Yeah,
things acting out because of that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like I always knew I was different than everybody in the family, probably
Mm.
closest to my mom. But yeah, I just had a different pull on my life. And now, obviously being almost 40 this year and just being able to look at everything in retrospect, it was really all by God's design. The
Mm.
failures and the successes, they were all uniquely wiring me for what my real purpose was in life. And if we allow him to get a hold of us, he'll repurpose our pain, or he'll repurpose our pain. He will, allow our pit to become our platform. A lot of stuff that I picked up in the streets, the way I was moving, I use a lot of those principles even in life and business today. It's about, typically, I'll say this: everybody has a gift, right? We
Yeah.
all have a gift. God, no respecter of person, he gave us all gifts. Our lot in life is to figure out what those are. And once we in our purpose, to share them with the world, right? Share those gifts with the world. And what happens is, for most of us, we have gifts, we just misuse them in the wrong environments. And
Mm.
so where I was using manipulation in the streets, well, that's really just another form of influence, except for the fact that I was using it for my glory, as opposed to now I just use my gifts for my good and his glory, which is what he always intended. And so the gift is a gift. It's just about, are we in the right environments to cultivate it and let it flourish in a positive way that it's supposed to?
So let's talk about that then too, because like your circle now, I know you running with a lot of, amazing peers of mine and just other people. I'm like, okay, respectable people, people who are making a lot of powerful business moves. How important was it for you to change up your circle to have the growth that you have now?
It was paramount.
Mm.
I look back now and I love all my day one guys, although we may not communicate as much as we used to or see, what I'm saying? Like, that's the evolution of life. What happens is, when we come from the hood,
What part you
we're
from? I meant to ask you that. What part of Detroit?
from the west side, Joy Road and Greenfield.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like seven
Yeah.
out, seven in Woodward, seven in Livernois.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like we're indoctrinated with this ideology that whoever you come up with, you got to stay with. Otherwise, something went wrong, right?
Mm.
When you really start living life, you figure out that people are in your life for seasons and reasons, and some for a lifetime. And so it's only natural, if you pursuing your purpose, that through that evolution, you're going to need different people along the way. It's almost impossible to really become who you need to become if you stay yoked to people that aren't a part of your future in that capacity. And so if everybody is not necessarily on the same wave in terms of what they're pursuing, then
Right.
you're going to evolve at rates that you're going to outgrow certain people in certain seasons. That don't mean that you're better than them by any means of what I'm saying. It just means that you're on different paths. And so if you continuously try to fight against that current, you're going to find yourself cannibalizing opportunity, number one, with your evolution, and two, all of the other opportunities that exist in the form of other people that's waiting for you to show up in this new capacity, versus you still trying to stay yoked to this old capacity.
So when you talk about that, I hear like kind of cutting off people, but boundaries at the same time.
Yeah,
How
I don't
did
think you got to cut anybody
I
off.
was
I
going to
mean,
ask, how do
sometimes,
you
sometimes.
so how did you do that, or how do you do that? Because a lot of us struggle with being able to move in certain spaces, leave people alone or distance ourselves, or even just go into new rooms. We struggle with that because we feel so tied to these people who we've known and who have helped us maybe in our down times. So like to be able to say, you know what, I can't answer the phone right now. I can't help you out. Like, how do you handle those type of situations, or how have you?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is, until you start to realize what your purpose is, you're always going to default into whatever made you comfortable.
Mm.
So the first thing is identifying that there's something unique about my lot in life that God specifically designed for me, that I got this burning desire to have. And as Kobe would say, you got to be in relentless pursuit of that, right?
Mm.
Most people lack clarity. So when you lack clarity, the enemy is the author of confusion. He'll keep you defaulting back into environments that are not conducive of the one that you're trying to go and pursue. And so, without
Mm.
vision, a man perishes, right?
So
That's exactly what that means. And so when you get clear on what your vision and what you want your life to look like, if you care enough about yourself, the first form of self-love is to pursue those things that are important to you. And there's going to be a cost to that. You know what I'm saying? And in some cases, yes, you will have to cut people off that are just extremely toxic in your life. In other cases, people will cut you off, bro. I got people that stopped calling me 2-3 years ago that I have no reason, no understanding as to why they did, but now I do understand.
They just felt. So B, let me
Yeah,
ask
just
you
not.
a golden question. This is something that a lot of us again struggle with. But I feel like you know the answer for you. What is your purpose?
So I got a gift to educate. Okay. I got a gift of being able to make money. I got a gift of discernment that's on a whole nother level. I got a gift of wisdom. And when you put all those together, you can kind of put them in various environments. So one thing that I'm big about, and you hear me pronounce my faith a lot,
Yeah.
it's a scripture that God gives us the desires of our heart. Most people interpret that as he gives us the things that we desire. But when you really align yourself with him and you praying and you seeking and you asking him, what is my life even about? His desires will become your desires. That's when you win it.
Say
Not
that. Say
working
that
on.
again. Say that again. We got to
so
catch
so
that.
yeah, it's a scripture that says that God gives us the desires of our heart. And so most people think he's just some genie in a bottle that he just give us everything that we desire. And that's not true. When we align ourselves with him, his desires becomes our desire. So when the scripture said God gives desires of our heart, he literally gives us his desires for us. And so when you can start aligning yourself with that and understanding during this season, this is what he would much rather have me work on and submit and surrender to that, then life becomes a lot easier, bro, because at the end of the day, we didn't create ourselves. And if we under that mistaken impression, we're going to always continue to fight against the current and wonder why we got extreme levels of stress and why we got extreme levels of anxiety and uncertainty is because we're not doing what we're naturally called to do. And so, my purpose at this point is to use my gifts that I just mentioned and to serve and feed people on an amazing level. And by doing so, I just so happen to have this beautiful life that I like for myself, and I'm operating in my gift, and it just seemed like seemingly effortless in most cases. And he continues. I give you a great example. June 20th, 2020, on Father's Day, first time out the house during COVID, went to Clearwater Beach. I was out on the balcony praying, and God told me he wanted me to invest in commercial multifamily, and he wanted me to do it with believers, right? Up to this point, I've been doing single family for 14 years.
Okay.
Loud and clear, right? I called my consultant. He was like, B, we just went over a Q2 plan. Like, that wasn't a part. I'm like, bro, I'm clear. I'm clear as a bell. When in pursuit, I mean, look, it's 2.5 years later, I got 120 commercial multifamily units. So when you can align yourself with what he wants you to do,
Right.
right?
So 2 years ago, it looked different. Like you were doing well, but it looked.
Yeah, I was doing single family. I was flipping and wholesaling, creating active income. I did passive single family homes my first 8 years of my career, but I had no like inclination that I would be doing commercial multifamily. It was literally just
Wow.
taking time and care. He gave me the word. So I got these 4 principles that I know if you follow them, you'll be successful in anything you want to do. First is having a desire. Second is get educated. Third is becoming a practitioner. And fourth, if you do that long enough, you'll become an expert, right? I've done it in every industry that I've been in. And so when he gave me that word, I went in pursuit of a mentor. Although I've been a mentor myself and doing single family, if your mentor ain't got a mentor, he shouldn't be your mentor. There's always somebody ahead of you. You right?
Yeah, for sure. I would say that. Yeah. We have to have
sure.
mentors, coaches, therapists have to have a therapist, coaches should have a coach, mentors should have mentors. Yeah, we should not ever be feeling like we're the top of the food chain. Like that's a recipe for disaster. So B, when did you first, I heard your principles. When did you first realize the desire?
In prayer. In prayer. Literally, it was June 20th, 2020. I was on that balcony in Clearwater Beach, and he gave me that desire, bro. And it was juxtaposed anything that we had planned on doing for that year. So much so when I called my consultant, we normally pretty aligned. He kind of gave me some pushback on it. And I told him, I said, bro, I'm clear. Like, you got to trust me on this. I knew it was him because it wasn't on my radar. And it made sense because we were transitioning into the pandemic, right? By June, we were heavily into it, but we had no idea what the outcome was going to be.
Right.
And so this was a strong pivot for me at that point in time. And so true to form, I went and found a mentor. That's the education piece. Did that in September. By Halloween in October, I had my first deal under contract. It was 136 units. It was in Flint. I met with the mayor of Flint, sat down with his cabinet. I met with the director of the Boys and Girls Club, formed partnerships. Bro, now that story in and of itself is an hour-long conversation. I didn't end up closing that deal, but it was
Okay.
a 5-month-long faith journey that at the end of it, it was about $24 million worth of upside, but I would have partnered with these guys that I didn't necessarily align with. I went in to a mastermind with this billionaire, Jeff Hoffman, who invented Priceline.com and the kiosk that we use in the airport. And somebody asked him a question about how you figure out who you do business with. And he said, our culture is, are they one of us? Right. And so I had identified these guys weren't aligned with where I was at morally, ethically, although it was a lot of financial upside. I walked away from the deal. I got back from Miami that Monday. I called the guys. That Tuesday, I got a 40-unit apartment building under contract the very next day. Guy was just trying to see
If you
that
were you ready?
was I going to choose the money over him?
Man. So B1, man, this is, you answered, like when I asked you what your purpose is, that was clear. And again, a lot of us don't know it. So I know what you're talking about is real. When you made that pivot, you said you were clear. Was there any fear at any time throughout that process? Because like you've been doing single families for all this time, then you pivot. Like I would imagine that takes a lot of confidence, but also there may be some fear involved too.
Yeah, I think there's always level of concern whenever you invest, and I think it's healthy to have
Mm-hmm.
that because that means you care, right? I think that when we act like we don't have that feeling of apprehension or a little anxiousness, that I think those people are careless because you think too much of yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we always gotta humble ourselves and think, although I think I got it figured out, I probably don't, right?
Yeah, like
And so
that.
it's
Yeah,
important. Yeah, it's so important to have wise counsel around you. And at the end of the day, bro, faith without works is dead. So we prepare ourselves as much as we can in the education phase, but action is the only thing that brings clarity. And at some point, you just got to be able to push past those feelings that you have and be in relentless pursuit about the thing that you know you're supposed to be working on and do it at all costs.
so number one is having a desire. Can you
Yeah.
say what's number two again?
Yep. Number two is getting education.
Getting education. So what did that look like for you?
I went and found a mentor. Like as soon as I got that word, June 20th, 2020, most started going to look for deals. I started going to look for a mentor.
Who was the
Right.
mentor you found? Who, if you can say?
Oh, absolutely. My man Mike Ely. His name is Mike Ely. You know, he's also a black guy who came from nothing. He's got like 1,500 units and multifamily. He's working on. He owns 4 hotels as well. And, you know,
Man.
for me, it was, bro, I had my pick of the litter in terms of resources out there. But for me, when I'm looking for a mentor, and I tell my students the same, find somebody first that aligns with you morally and ethically. Because the X's and O's is the X's and O's. You can learn that from anybody, but what else are you learning from them? Right.
Right.
And so, you know, if I'm gonna spend my time and I'm gonna be in close proximity with you, you got to be talking some things that speak to me beyond dollars and cents and X's and O's. And
Yeah.
so somebody that identified with me on that level. And then I looked at all his accolades and I'm like, okay, I could get busy with this. So, you know, it's always education first after the desire. And then you go out and you become a practitioner. Faith without works is dead. You got to put it in play. You're never going to think your way into success, right? It just don't happen,
Were
right?
there
At
any
some point, you got to jump off the porch.
were there any roadblocks that you had as you were, like mental roadblocks as you were going through this journey of,
Significant.
what were some of them?
Significant. Imposter syndrome, bro. I mean, when so much of what we do is an out-of-body experience based on where we come from, right? And those limiting beliefs will creep in and those identity crises will happen. Not, you know, one thing to be in real estate coming from where we come from, then to take this next leap of getting into commercial multifamily. So the first deal that I locked up, 136 units, the owner was in Miami, Jewish guy, owns hotels and whatnot. I drove down there, got knee to knee with him. I show up in the suit. He don't even know. Like he don't know what I look like, but we supposed to meet at this place in Miami for lunch and get knee to knee. And he said everything without saying anything. You know what I mean? He was looking like, what is this guy doing here? Right.
Yeah,
And to
yeah.
some degree, I'm thinking, what is this guy doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm coming to talk about an $8 million deal that I ain't never done. And I'm sitting across from this man, convincing him that I'm the guy that he should sell it to. Right.
Wow.
And this is why it's so important to have faith in something beyond yourself. Because if I left it to my own devices, if I left it to my own thought process, sometimes I would never do the stuff I do. I just trust him more than I trust me. So if he
Man.
bought me through it, he's gonna bring me through it. If he give me the vision, he always gonna make the provision. And I never thought about where I was gonna get the money from. I just knew if it was his will, I'd get it, because I always do.
But what about, because I mean, the things you've done are just not, let's be like, most of us or people who we know are not making these type of decisions. So like, did you have to change up who you hang around or who you talk to? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, man, that's extremely important. You gotta, at some point, you gotta get around wise counsel. You have to, first of all, you got to stop taking advice from people that never done the stuff that you're trying to accomplish. Like if we can't agree on nothing else out of this whole video,
Yeah.
we have to stop taking advice from people that have not done the things that you're trying to accomplish. Even if they tried it and failed it, that's still not what you're trying to accomplish. So you can't even take advice from them.
Is stress and burnout taking a toll on your company's productivity and morale? Are you looking for ways to improve your employees' mental health and wellness? If so, it's time to invest in mental health support for your workplace. As a mental health expert and speaker, I provide solutions for creating a happier, healthier, and more productive workplace. This includes a range of services to help your employees cope with stress, anxiety, and other mental health challenges. I facilitate workshops and presentations designed specifically to help your employees develop resiliency, manage stress, and reduce burnout. So why wait? Make mental health and wellness a priority in your workplace today and contact us so we can support you all. All right, let's get back to the episode. Man, you just wrapped it up right there. Like, I mean, we still going, but like you closed the loop by saying, even if they tried it and failed, that's still probably not your person.
It can't be, because all you could teach me is how you feel.
Yeah.
So if my goal is not to fail, I can't take my counsel from you.
Right. But I think sometimes people underestimate the power of having wise counsel.
They definitely
And what really stood out to me is I've seen some of the people that you work with, different masterminds, different colleagues, different people who are in the real estate field. And I'm like, oh man, Brian's serious.
I pay to get in rooms, bro.
Yeah, Brian, he's serious. And I think people know. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like you have to pay to get in rooms. This whole stigma of I'm not paying these people. It's like, okay, we'll stay over there with them, and you could get bad information for free every day. Go do that. But for me, I know if I want to get the right information from said pupils and others, I got to get in the room with those folks. I got to get in proximity with those folks. And the only way that you do it is making investments in yourself. I spent over 6 figures last year just in marriage coaching, personal development, business coaching, real estate coaching. And I pride myself on that because people get to live in my overflow. Right. And so what happens is people don't go out and make enough deposits in themselves, and yet you environments where people making withdrawals from you constantly every single day.
Man, oh man, you saying a lot. You saying a lot. I'm trying to catch up because you dropping it, but seriously, because I think about, just investments that we've made, whether it be time in school, resources in school. These are investments, but then we get out and we think that that's where it stops. But really, that's just where it starts to take off, because now we can choose. Like, we had to go to school, but now we can choose to make the real investments in ourselves.
Absolutely. The truth is most people go to college because they believe in society standard and not themselves.
So we were kind of like putting
go ahead,
run it back.
Most people go to college because they believe in society standards and not themselves. And the test to find out if that's true is because when you get out of college, are you willing to make investments in yourself that are countercultural, that are abnormal, that are juxtaposed with society is doing? People ain't going out spending $10, $20, $50,000 at seminars.
Or 100, like you said, over 100 You spent last year
Yeah,
cumulative. Yeah.
cumulative, absolutely. Right? Because it's juxtaposed society standard. But everybody's running out to get $100,000 in student loans with the hopes of getting a degree, with the hopes of getting a job that justifies that degree, and with the hopes of one day paying those student loans back before they die.
Yeah. And so
And
for
don't give it a second thought.
so for you, be like those investments you made. I mean, I'm sure that the return on them was for your
Oh
marriage,
man.
for your business,
Oh
for
my
you
God.
personally.
Bro, listen to me. Like my wife and I been through a lot, right? She been with
Mm.
me since I was fighting that case. And we had a daughter at 18. And, here we are, some 21 years together and married 15, going on 16 this year. Bro, we didn't went through all type of seasons in life. And it wasn't until after almost 15 years in marriage that we go get a marriage coach last year and learn stuff about ourselves that we never could articulate.
Mm.
We've been in a house together for multiple decades, and still without having that liaison come in and lift up under the hood and tell us what was going on, we could never articulate what our biggest differences were. And now that
Mm.
we got that clarity, bro, our marriage is better than it's ever been the entire time we've been together.
Ain't that crazy?
It's unbelievable.
Like you made that investment and it's, tenfold, 20-fold. Like you're feeling it.
Oh
Your
my God,
marriage is feeling it's a beauty, it's a benefit. But sometimes
bro.
it's like this. Like I'm a fitness guy. I like to work out. That's
Mhm.
been me since like before high school. But I realized like I need a trainer. Like even though I'm saying I can work out, I know my way around the gym. But in order
Mhm.
to take it to another level, especially in a shorter amount of time, because I only work out for like 30 minutes tops.
Okay,
That's because my trainer got me doing that, not me.
that's cold.
You know what I'm
That's cold.
saying?
Where somebody could go in and hang out in the gym for 2 hours and still don't get the same
No,
input output
yeah,
that you got in 30 minutes.
exactly. But that's the way he
Yeah.
trained me to work. And I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing. Shout out to Pierre Vincent, Cass Tech graduate.
Oh man, you working with Pierre? Yeah, track
Been working
guy.
with
He went to
like,
Central. He was
yeah.
at Central with me for a minute. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been working with Pierre for like almost 10 years, maybe now, something like that.
that's solid,
Off
man.
and
Shout out to
on.
Pierre here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Once the pandemic hit, and I've been working out in the garage for the last couple years. And it
no
just works.
excuses.
No excuses,
No,
man. And
yeah.
getting better results. But with, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like with that help. So I think people need to know about mentorship.
Because practice don't make perfect. Perfect practice make perfect.
Exactly.
You could get wrong. You could get good at the wrong stuff. People do it every day.
So B, man, you dropped a lot of gems. You said, you need to one, have a desire.
A real
Two,
desire, not
right.
copying what you somebody else got and think I want to do that because they did it. Because I guarantee you, if you don't have a real desire, when you start hitting that adversity that you didn't know that person went through, all you saw was the trophy, you're going to
Mm,
quit. So it's got to
mhm.
be a real desire. It can't be a manufactured desire.
A real desire, y'all. Like what is your real purpose? What's that desire?
Yes,
The thing that you can't stop thinking about, the thing that's keeping you up at night, the thing that even, you want to do, even if it's like you said, helping people, serving people, you would do that for free. But that's your
for sure.
desire and that's your gift. Two, get educated, whether that's through coaches, mentorship, support groups, whatever you need to do, you need to get educated, pay for the courses, go back to school. Three, become a practitioner. So now you need to implement whatever you've learned after you've gotten clear on what your desire is. What's the fourth, B?
And you do that long enough, you log your 10,000 hours, you become an expert, and people pay you to teach them how to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. What's that? Is that number four?
That is number four.
That's number.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's number four. Yeah.
Yeah.
Desire, education, practitioner, expert. That's the
Yeah.
move. That's the four moves. You do those four things. I don't care if it's hair coloring, whatever it is that you want to do, you do those four things and you'll be uber successful.
No, that's what's up, man. It's and you're right too, because in our professions, respectively, like I've been doing it for a minute. I got my 10,000 hours. You got your 10,000 hours. So now you could kind of do this in your sleep.
For sure. And you could raise up an army of therapists based on
Yeah.
what you know.
Yeah.
Right?
Seriously, somebody had hit me up about an opportunity, a great opportunity. And I was like, I probably will engage in it, but I'm saying, you know what? I may be even better suited to help the other clinicians as opposed to, because I've done so much. I want to make sure you want to make sure that these people who are helping these people have wise counsel.
That's
You
right.
know, again, because I'm getting mine from somebody else and I can kind of trickle it down.
For sure. For sure.
Ryan, man, this has been great, but I want you to talk about your upcoming challenge because I know about it, but it's gonna be great. Tell people what we got going
Bro,
on.
the challenge. You know, we go through phases in life, even when we're doing something that we love, that
Mm-hmm.
things plateau at times. And the challenge has reinvigorated something in me, bro. Is like the new catalyst. And I love it so much because people get to come out and spend 5 days with me for 2 hours a day, right? For the first day with a fee ticket, they get to ask me questions for an entire hour, like rapid fire. Now, to preface this, if somebody was like, I want to buy you lunch, I want to pick your brain, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna buy the lunch. I'm gonna send you my $10,000 invoice, and then you could pick my brain all you want to. And I know a lot of people probably be like, be tripping, but what y'all got to understand, if somebody comes to me and says that they know what they want to do within an hour's time, they'll 10x that investment.
So basically,
It's,
it's
so,
well
so
worth it. It's
oh, bro, everything I do is well worth it. So much so that the challenge is the VIP ticket is $297, right?
mm-hmm.
We do it 10 times more than money back guarantee, meaning that if you don't get by Friday, if subjectively, if you
Right.
feel like you didn't get $2,970 worth of value, we give you your money back. It's never happened, bro, but we will, because I can stand on anything that I do that you're going to be able to 10x it as long as you show up, play all out, and do the work. You know what I
Man,
mean?
that's a
So
steal for cumulatively 5 days, 2 hours each day. They can pick your brain one on one, or they can for an hour,
absolutely, absolutely,
and for the cost of like a pair of Jordans.
bro. Like, I mean, not being funny, but on
I'm
Easter,
serious.
me and my wife went to Ocean Prime, and I mean, we spent $297 on brunch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's menial, but this is the thing, Jay. People are more concerned with spending money on things that make them feel good from an instant gratification perspective, as opposed to thinking long term with that deposit, what kind of return on investment that they'll get. Right?
Now,
We're more fixated on instant gratification and things that make us look like that we're doing better than what we are, instead of just being better.
what are some of the things that you gonna be discussing in the challenge? Because I know some people want to like, okay, what am I gonna get? Like, what are we gonna talk about?
Oh yeah, I got that. So
Yeah.
on day one, we're going to teach them the difference between traditional and remote investing, right? As I mentioned, I live here in Orlando. I got over 120 units in Detroit. We got students in Denmark that invest in other parts of the states. We got other people in California to do stuff in Memphis. Y'all get the picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So investing remotely unlocks something to where if you're in a challenge market like New York, like
Yeah.
California, you probably gonna want to learn how to invest somewhere else, because your return on investment or even your barrier to entry is so difficult in those markets. It's not going to be most advantageous for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we teach people the difference between traditional and remote investing on day one. Day two, we teach them, what's day two? Day two is we teach them the 7-figure formula, how to build a 7-figure business over the course of 12 months. Okay. Day three, we teach them how to become an OPM magnet. OPM means other people's money. So 90% of our students do their deals with no money out of pocket. We teach them how to attract money, how to become their person to attract money, and then how to deploy other people's capital into building the life that they want for themselves. Okay. Day four, we teach the time freedom cash flow formula, which is essentially showing you how to buy your time back through real estate investing, so that if you want to quit your job, as I did at 35, you can absolutely do so. None of this stuff is hocus pocus. It's all about coming up with a goal, reverse engineering the plan to get there. And it's a systemic process. Okay. So we teach them that on day four. And then day five, which I love, is we customize an investment plan specifically for them, because everybody has a unique goal. Everybody got different aspirations. I don't believe any program should be one size fit all. It should be unique to the user, because their goals and their life is unique to them. So by day five, we just kind of put a bow on that thing and give them something tangible that they can walk away and start implementing.
Now, B, man, I love the fact that you broke it down. I thought you had like a little notepad. That's off the dome. That's a lot to remember. But I want to say, so there's somebody listening, like, okay, dang, this sound good. I want to get into, investing, real estate. Even myself, I wanted to get into real estate. And then you think, well, how can I make this happen? Like, is this tangible? Like, what do you say to that person?
If you look for problems, you'll find it. If you look for solutions, you'll find those too.
So basically,
Like,
whatever you're looking
I don't try
for.
to convince nobody no more, bro. I really, I'm exhausted with that because ain't nobody had to convince me of nothing.
Mm,
I'm convicted about the life that I want for myself, the life that I want for my wife and my daughter, the life that I want for other people that subscribe to those things that I can help them with. I don't try to convince nobody no more. I mean, people are their own worst enemy. And the reality is people buy things for one reason. It's because
what's
they
it?
feel like it.
Mm,
It's because they feel like it. That's the only reason why people buy stuff, because they feel like it. And so whatever you feel like, then you will vote with your
yeah,
wallet. You know what I'm
right,
saying? It
right.
really is that. I hate to oversimplify it, but I'm tired of everybody overcomplicating things because it's not that complicated. It's about, do you have a clear picture of what you want your life to look like? Do you identify that everything that you've done up to this point has only gotten you this far? So there's clearly a gap between what you know currently versus what you need to know to get where you're trying to go in the future. And if you're a wise person, you'll make the investment.
Well, I mean, it's enough said, man. You're right. Like, I think when you try to convince it, it's like now it's like, hold up, I don't really, we don't want that. We don't want that energy in the room either.
For sure. For
You
sure.
know.
Because at the end of the day, I know what it takes for somebody to be successful.
Mhm.
And if you him and Han about investing $297 in yourself, then that's going to continue to show up in other ways. You know what I mean? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. And so if it ain't for you, then don't do it. But if it is, it would change your life.
Yeah, man. I just want to say I can personally attest to working with coaches and different mentors, and it's the best thing ever. I talk about it a lot, but I think sometimes people still don't understand. Like, to get where you really want to go, you're probably going to need to invest. Not even probably, you're going to need to, or you're going
For
to take
sure.
or you're going to take a very long time, hopefully trying to get there on your own. But I'm not like that. Like, if I know B, you can do something, like, well, let me ask B, like, and if I got to pay you, let me pay you. But to just try to like know what I want and then struggle every day and not get it, yeah, especially not for 297. Like,
Exactly.
that's a steal, man. That's a steal. So I'm gonna have the link in the show notes. So make sure y'all get the link, because I have an affiliate link. So make sure y'all get the link.
For sure. Yeah. Get
And
Jay's
then,
link.
yeah,
Yeah.
get my link. And also make sure you're following Brian, man. Is it Brian Adamson on all platforms?
It's Brian Adamson Real Estate on YouTube, and it's Brian Adamson Official on all the other platforms.
Yeah. And those links will be in the show notes too, man. I really appreciate you, man. Like, we're gonna, of course, keep connecting. I love Florida. I love the warm weather. So I
For
had to
sure.
get out of the deep just for that reason. Seriously, man.
People be like, "Why you move to Florida?" I'm like, "You check the weather lately?" You know what I'm saying? Like, do I
Yeah.
do any other reason other than that? Like,
It's
bro,
snowing there
it's 50
today.
degrees in December. I mean, what you,
Yeah.
huh?
It's snowing in
You
Michigan
said it
today.
snowed? Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Jesus.
talking to some brothers. They said, "Yeah, man, snow." So, no, man, this has been excellent. I know, y'all, if you did not get anything from this, you need to go back and re-listen, because Brian dropped a lot of gems, man. And it's just awesome to hear your story, man. Like, coming from where you come from and like helping people now, giving back, and you make it very practical. I know some people that worked with you and has some amazing success too. So, like, it's like I feel like we just connected full circle.
For sure, bro. This has been a blessing, man. I always appreciate me and you getting together to chat. We could do this for
I
hours.
know.
People
Oh,
don't
I know.
realize, like,
Right.
bro, we could let the beat ride. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so I look forward to coming back, man. I appreciate you having me. It's so much out there right now, Jay. People chasing the wrong things, bro. And so whenever I got an opportunity to let them know what's real,
Yeah.
I just feel like I got a responsibility to do that, and you certainly got a great platform for that. I know your whole mission in life is about transformation. That's what you do, right? In your
Yeah.
everyday practice. And same is true for me. Real estate is the vehicle,
Hmm.
but you need to become someone to effectively do that long term. And that's what the challenge is, teaching you how to become that person so you can do the thing that you want to do to have the stuff that you want to have.
and consistently show up every day and do the work and the homework. Cause I know you're gonna be giving people things to do in between. I already know what time it is. So
It ain't called a course, it's called a challenge for a reason. Believe that
yeah.
it's gonna be a challenge, but it's preparing you for what you say you really want in life.
Yeah. Man, well, thank you again, B. Y'all. This has been another dope episode of the Peace and Prosperity Podcast. Y'all be blessed. Peace.